All right, so tell me a little bit, Brett, about your business.
Yeah, so my business is primarily made up between Sphere, obviously, my friends, family, people that know me, referrals that I receive from them, and my database.
Yeah.
And I have different avenues that I search and go about finding people to put into my database
Mm-hmm.
to then
Leads.
utilize it.
Leads, we call those in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, lead sources.
Yeah, lead
Yeah.
sources. Yeah, leads people. I try to focus on the fact that it's like, I have this space that I can go to and I can turn to find people who know me, like me, and I can ask for referrals from them. I can, they can come to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to them and say, hey, how can I help you? And, because that's, I mean, you know me, I like to help people. It's like
It's your whole thing.
it is.
That's
Yeah.
why you're on the team.
Yeah.
So let's go back to before you were on the team. Let's talk about your business before, without
Yeah.
saying where you were or anything like that. Tell me what your days consisted of. Tell me how you generated business. Tell me a little bit about that, and then why you thought that coming to a training team was going to be a better option for you.
Yeah. So, I was a solo agent beforehand.
Mhm.
So my days primarily consisted of tasks that were not necessary and things I was filling my days with, going to work, and I was, putting around town waiting for the phone to call, or somebody to call me and the phone to ring.
Mhm.
And definitely was not productive. My first year in real estate, literally my first transaction was what I was always waiting for. Was somebody called me, said, "Hey, I want to go look at this house. Can we go look at it?"
Mhm.
And within 24 hours, we were submitting an offer on that house.
Okay.
And that's what I had dreamt up real estate to be. And so I just was waiting for that to continue happening at a higher rate. And
Did it?
that is not
No?
what happens.
How long did it take from when you got your license, first hung up your shingle,
Uh-huh.
to where that person called you?
Gosh, that was in April, and I got my license in October. So,
6 months.
yeah, 8 months
Okay.
right there. So,
Well, that's
definitely.
that's the dream, though. Is everybody just wants the phone to ring?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That was, when was that? What year? 21? 22?
That was in 22 when we closed my first transaction was in 22. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
6 months, 22. A lot has changed
Oh yeah.
from April, May of 2022 to now. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So is the phone still ringing from people you don't know?
Definitely not from people I don't know.
Okay.
That is the reality. Is that people that don't know you are not going to call you,
Mhm.
and doesn't matter how hard you wish that to happen. It's never going to happen.
Yeah,
So-
wants and wishes are great, but really what works is working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the truth of it.
Yes.
So before you came over and joined us on a leap of faith, because we didn't know each other before, you were actually one of those people who just called me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, recruiting's super easy. This guy called me. I like him. He's not crazy. Okay, I've come to learn. Little nuts.
Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
okay. So if we cycle back, you had that deal. Somebody just randomly called you. You're not from Northern Nevada, right?
No.
No. So you don't really have a database.
No, my database, the beginnings of my database was really my wife's database.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody knew me from the wedding, and that was about it. So,
Okay.
I definitely did not grow up here. And it was very difficult to be known in this area.
Mhm.
So,
And there's about 1% of everybody who lives here has a real estate license,
yep.
which is pretty heavy saturation.
Well, and the funniest part about it all is that, when I first got my license, my mentor, she was a family friend.
Okay.
So she was the family realtor for
Mhm.
our family and all of our friends. And, she's very heavily connected with everybody that I know.
Okay. Yep.
So it was also very difficult because it was like, well, we're going to call her. And you know, and I totally respect that. I mean, she is a great realtor, still a great realtor. She does a lot for the community, and we, you know, we respect each other. We see each other all the time. I call her from time to time, and you know, just chat. And but it was a little daunting when I got my license because everybody was kind of just like, well, if I need to get anything done in real estate, I'm calling her, not calling the newbie that just got his license. Come on, who are we?
We were all new once, buddy. We were all new
Yeah.
once. So no database.
Yep.
The phone's not ringing.
No.
It's just sort of when you don't have an escrow, you're out of business.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about that. We know that. You hear that from me every single day.
Yep.
You or another member of the team, if you don't have an escrow, you're just volunteering.
Yep.
So we needed to build your database.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the best way for you to do that?
Best way for me personally is getting in front of people and talking. You know, I do so much better in person, and I mean, I think a lot of people could say that, but personally, I do really good with finding ways to connect with people, and it's really hard to do that electronically, social media, phones, calling. Like, it's really hard to see your facial expressions and to laugh and joke and to have these little interactions that you really need to build trust. That I really believe that you have to build trust within one another. And so I find it best that I do really good in front of people who want to listen to me, one, and two, want to like have these conversations face to face. That's where I kind of thrive.
So how do you find those people?
Yeah. I do a lot of open houses. Yep.
You do.
Yeah.
Would it surprise you to know that 75% of your business this year, your closed transactions, has come from open houses?
I mean, it is a little bit of a surprise, but at the same time, it's not. And the reason I say that is because kind of going back to what we were talking about, I love helping people. I love talking to people that want to listen to me. It's really hard to talk to somebody that wants nothing to do with real estate because already they're
sales resistance.
Yeah,
just goes
they
right up.
just
They just don't even want to talk about
you don't even want to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like being able to go into a home and hold it open and have people that are wanting to buy come to you.
It's kind of like the phone ringing, except they're
It's-
just coming to where you are.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
fantastic.
You know, I was actually talking to a really good friend of mine about a month ago, and you know, she didn't really fully understand why I enjoy doing open houses so much because it is hard and it does take away time, and oftentimes you're having to work when people are not working, and so it can be very difficult. But I related it to her like this. You know, if you were to go buy a car, are you going to start your research at the dealership? Probably not. You're going to look it up. You're going to find out all about this specific car. You're going to narrow it down between two cars almost in a sense before you even show up at the dealership. So when you go to the dealership, you're walking onto the yard and you're like, all right, I want to test drive this 2024 Ford F-150, and I want to test drive the Ford Ranger, and with this model and this trim package. And you're telling the sales agent that. And then you're going out, you're test driving it, and then you're making a decision and you're signing the paperwork because you don't want to be bothered by a car salesman, you know, beforehand. And so it was my whole point of view with that was it's awesome to be able to hold these houses open, have people come to me. They've already done the research about the house. They already know how many bedrooms there are and where the bathrooms are, and you know, if it's a 2-story, where's all the bathrooms and bedrooms and laundry rooms at? They already know all that. But being able to talk to them about all the inner workings of the house and sell them on the lifestyle that they could have of living in that home,
100%.
that is the fun part for me.
Yeah.
And then creating that relationship with them and then helping that lifestyle that they dreamt up become a reality.
Yeah. Yeah, because when they walk in that front door, they're not just tire kickers. They may not know the house.
Yeah.
You know, they may have just seen the sign.
They could.
But there's an intentionality going to an open house.
Yes.
When a customer walks into an open house, they know who's inside.
Mm-hmm.
They're not expecting like a clown or a sushi chef.
Yeah.
They know there's a professional salesperson inside.
Yeah.
Usually two.
Yeah.
So there is somewhere in the back of their mind some intentionality, which, I think is one of the rules is getting those people that have that intentionality behind it. So what are some of the tips that you've done? I know, but we're going to tell our friends that you've done to help build out your open house success. Because most people, they just like, oh, I guess I'll do an open house in an hour, throw it on the MLS, maybe, go throw up some signs, get some ugly salami that looks horrible after an hour, and go sit there and, well, nothing happened.
Yeah.
How do you make open houses successful?
You're going to make me give all away my secrets.
Your secrets were developed on my team. They are my secrets. This is my coaching couch, buddy.
Well, there's a lot of, I would say that there's a lot of practice. There's a lot of study that goes into open houses. I think that one of the biggest ways, there's a couple of the things that I do that have made my open houses so successful.
Mm-hmm.
One of the primary one, I would say the first and foremost is being prepared.
What does that preparation look like?
Well, there's a lot of things.
Okay.
One is having your open house marketed on the MLS more than 24 hours. I mean, the lender that I work with, a lot of the times, we are striving to put our open house on MLS 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
It doesn't always happen that way, but we're shooting for at least a week, if not 2 weeks. And what that allows us to do is to be going out and promoting that open house for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And trying to drive as much traffic to that open house. Now, if you were to get an advertisement of saying, hey, there's an open house going on, well, you're a realtor. Mm-hmm. So you're a little bit different, but you would see that house, and instantly in your mind, you're thinking about all the people that this house could apply to. And so then you potentially could be telling everybody else about this open house that's going on because you thought of maybe your friend or an in-law or a family member that you're like, oh, you know what, this house would actually be perfect for them. Mm-hmm. And then you're telling them about it. So we try to make sure that we're doing as much marketing as we can, both in the neighborhood, pounding the doors and going out and actually like talking to people.
What? You mean physically speaking with another human being?
Yeah.
About trying to get them to spend $500,000.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, so,
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, there's some kind of some theories on that, and I think that, like, really honestly, who is the best salesperson for a house? In my opinion, it's the neighbor. They live there. Mm-hmm. They live in the neighborhood. They have a desire to be there. They love it. I mean, typically, most homeowners love their home. They love their neighborhood. They love the neighbors. They bought there for a reason. They spent $500,000 to be there,
sure
right?
Did.
Or $1 million or $2 million. Like they paid to be there. And sometimes I feel like they're some of the best spokespeople or salespeople for that particular house. So going to them and being like, who do you want to live here? And who do you know that you could tell that we're trying to sell this house to? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're some of the best people to talk to.
Yeah. So do you make like special concessions for them? Do you there's some open house programs that some of the national brands have, where it's like the night before the open house, have a big 3-hour party with all the neighbors. And do you do anything like that, or smaller scale, or tell me a little bit of how you interact more with those neighbors as well?
Yeah, so we always do a neighborhood preview where we allow the neighbors to come in and view the home beforehand. We like to do that before the open house.
Okay.
But we don't try to push them to just the preview. I don't know, in my opinion, it's, I let them know that, hey, neighbors only are coming during this time, but we're going to be here from this time to this time. Can you bring a friend by and come to our open house and come check it out? We're going to have some things or whatever.
Smart. It's like Cole's Cash.
Yeah. So it's, please, we'd love to come, and we're also going to be doing a drawing.
Okay.
And, come and check it out, and, whatever, you have your spiel, right? So you invite them and hope that they bring somebody, and that also on top of that, they stay and you get to chat with them. Mm-hmm. A lot of the neighbors typically become sellers because they're going in, looking at this house, and a lot of the people that want to go and look at this house, they have, like you were talking about, they have a reason for being there in the back of their mind. You do get looky-loos,
Of course.
but I have
It's
my
the
ways.
nosy neighbors.
but
It's the
but
Mrs. Kravitzes. They want to see inside.
exactly, but I have my way around that. I'll tell you later. But you get a couple looky-loos every now and then, but majority of the people that are coming in have a purpose to be there, whether they're trying to get an idea for their own personal value of their home for whatever reason that be, or they're kind of doing almost a mini interview with you and they don't even really know it, and so that's how I treat a lot of the neighbors that come into the open house. On top of that, a lot of neighborhoods, they have renters. I mean, I know of neighborhoods that I've held open houses in, and 60% of the residents in that neighborhood are renters.
Okay, so when a renter comes in, I know that you have like a hard and fast rule of you only do open houses with lenders.
Yeah.
You never do it solo.
No.
Now, does anybody ever
So
get
dangerous.
pre-qualified, except besides the danger
Yeah.
of just, hey, I'm going to be in this house alone for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you come and stab me in the face?
Yeah.
Does anybody actually get pre-qualified, or is that just another introduction?
So I personally, I've heard of stories where people have, hey, I had this buyer come in, we got him pre-qualified on the spot, and we were writing an offer later that night. Honestly, that's actually never happened to me. But we have been able to answer a lot of questions when it comes to lending, because that is always everybody's first question when it comes to them having a possibility of buying a house. Is, can I afford it? How much does it cost? What is the cost, Sam? Right? So having a lender there to be able to actually answer those questions for them specifically. I mean, I can talk to people about down payments and all these different things till I'm blue in the face, but I can't quote mortgage rates.
Nope.
I can't tell them how much they're, what they're going to get costs in PMI, or if they're going to have PMI, and all these different loan programs that they could possibly qualify for, right? Like, I can't talk about that kind of stuff. So having a loan officer there that's knowledgeable, has products outside of a FHA and conventional loan, has a system to be able to quickly give people an estimate of a mortgage there at the open house, and just kind of is friendly and welcoming.
Personable, get that no like trust system
100%.
flowing. Yeah, absolutely love that.
100%. That's what we need in a lender at an open house, in my opinion. It goes a long way, for sure.
So I mentioned earlier the flabby, gross salami that turns a little clear. Like, everybody loves that, but what I found is after COVID, people avoid that.
Yeah.
Like, one, it just looks gross, and two, it's covered in COVID.
Yeah.
So nobody uses it. So I know that we've trained you to use prepackaged snacks. So prepackaged snacks with a little label on them.
100%.
And the reason that we've done that is it's not physically sticky, but if you give somebody 2 bags of chips to take with their kids, well, most people don't clean their cars. They're going to find that bag again in a couple days with your face on it.
Yeah.
So it's again building those touch points, building that point of connection, building those touch points. What have you found has been like the best day and time?
That's how I get rid of my looky-loos.
Okay.
I've found that, honestly, the best times for me and how I run my business and how I work and my whole purpose for holding an open house is doing it during the weekdays.
Okay.
I understand there are realtors out there that say, hey, you have to do open houses on the weekends, and they'll have 30 people come through their open house. And you know what? If that's what your goal is, then, hey, you are crushing it. Congratulations. Bravo. Like, awesome. Personally, for me and how I want to run my business and how my whole goal and reason for being at the open house, I found for me, doing it during the weekend, like weekdays, and during certain times of the weekdays, depending on the location, price point, type of style of home and of nature. I have kind of like a little theory behind it. But doing it that way, I have found that I get more solid, qualified people. they're coming there for a very good reason.
Hmm.
And you know, I know this sounds a little backwards, but my primary goal at the open house is to sell the house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why else are we there, right? You know, and I sit in front of sellers and I tell sellers that one of my number one ways I'm going to be able to sell your home is going to be through open houses,
Hmm.
right? And I tell them that, and I tell
So
them
hold on, I'm
how.
going to interrupt you. What do you
Go
say?
ahead.
What do you say when a seller's like, "Well, they're so inconvenient. I just don't want all these people to come over to my house." Like, what do you say to them when they're like, "Well, open houses are so convenient or inconvenient, and that's just the way. I don't want to leave my house for 3 hours, 4 hours." What do you say to them?
So, is it more inconvenient to leave your house during one part of the day, or maybe even while you're at work or doing something during the day, or is it more inconvenient to leave your house 6 times for 30 to an hour block throughout the day, and so
Yeah.
you're in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out? What's more inconvenient?
Yeah. I personally think it's the in and out, but and see, I
I
look
think
at
so
open
too.
houses personally as, yeah, I'm there to sell the house,
Mm-hmm.
but there's going to be other people that I meet.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
I love holding open houses in weird houses,
Yeah.
like the ones that everybody wants to go see. Most of my multi-million-dollar clients have come from open houses,
Yeah.
um, and they've been slower
Mm-hmm.
because we make that connection with the person. Not everybody's going to sign in, right?
Yeah.
Most people probably aren't, or they're going to give you Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, or other trademark Disney products. But it's finding those one or two that you can actually have a personal connection with to build that no-like trust circle, right?
100%. I mean, it was, you know, I had a family that just recently closed a house with me, and I met them at an open house a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Or, well, now a year and a half ago. But we closed on their house. It was about a year and a couple months after, you know, so it's like I met them and, you know, just through following up and keeping up with them and calling them occasionally. When they were ready to buy a home, they called me and they said, Brett, we're coming to Reno and we'll be here this month and this day and we're doing this and we want to go check out some houses. Let's go. And I was like, hey, great, let's do this. You know,
Nice.
so I definitely agree that having, you know, and this is just how I am. If I have 3 people that show up at my open house and I make really good solid connections with all 3 of them, and then on top of that, I can help one of them understand the beautiful aspects of owning this particular home and sell them on the fact that they need to buy this house, right? Because they're there for a reason. I mean, people don't just take time out of their day, you know, at noon on a Wednesday, right? To just go putter around and whatever, right? So they're there for a purpose, and if I can help one person understand the beauty behind living in that particular house, well, that day was a success.
Yeah.
That was a huge success because I made 3 new friends. I helped the seller sell their home,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly,
What
I
if
found,
it's not for them?
well, if it's not
Well,
for
what if that
them,
house isn't for them? And that's okay because every house is unique. That's one of the magical things about it.
yeah,
But what if that particular home is not for that particular buyer?
it's a really good question. And honestly, it's very difficult with having the mindset that you're trying to sell that house and kind of stay in that mindset. It's also a very slippery slope, in my opinion. That you know, the instant somebody has any type of reluctance against that house to just immediately go, well, let me show you 12,000 more houses that we have on the market right now. Let's go, and it can become a very slippery slope, especially when you're trying to be there for the sellers, especially if it's your own listing, right? But I have a system that I like to use where on the back side of my flyers, I include a couple homes that are in the neighborhood that are of similar price or similar kind.
Okay.
And I usually, if the house is absolutely not for them, well, I'm not here to convince you, Sam, to buy this house. That's not my job.
I don't think we ever convince somebody to buy a house.
No, 100%. But it's to help you find the information that you need to make solid, good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've provided all of the information that you needed to make a decision that house is not yours, well, then let's go look at house number A, and let's go look and see if I can get you some information on this particular house to make that decision there. And then house number B, and then C, and and you go down the line.
Those are letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though. It's just finding, it's helping them find the information that they need to be able to be making good, solid financial decisions.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So, okay, you had talked about what you do at the open house, what you do before the open house. What is your follow-up? Like, how do you get these people that you met a year ago, 18 months ago, to call you, to have you be their guy? What's your follow-up look like? Because I'm sure you're nice, but I'm sure if they're going to one open house, they're meeting more agents as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
How do you stay top of mind?
Yeah. So, and it's evolving. I will say that. I hear about certain aspects that other agents are doing. I try to incorporate it if it's better, or, and all those different things. So it's always evolving. But as it sits right now, and we know what it was for my clients that, I found a year ago. It's definitely sending them letters saying thank you so much. It's the text messages and the calls right after the open house saying, hey, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciated our time. It was so cool to learn about your dog Leonard, and it was so cool to meet with you on XYZ, right? Also, I mentioned it, I have my giveaways, so I'm calling the giveaway winner and talking to him about that, and so I would say definitely it's the letters that I send to them. It's the phone calls and text messages that are personable. They're not, hey, I want to go show you this house. It's I had a great conversation with you, and I really appreciated the feedback that you gave us, because I'm going to take that to the sellers now, and I'm going to hopefully use this feedback to try to sell their house to another person that it'll fit better for them. And hey, it's, I found this house that has a bigger master closet. Like you said, this one was way too small. Well, I found one that has a bigger master closet. Check it out. Let me know what you think.
Constant follow-up, constantly showing value, constantly nurturing them to make sure when they think of Realtor, they think of Brett.
Yes.
So the entire process.
Yeah. And then on top of that, it's also, sending them something that they can physically have once a week for several weeks.
Okay.
And, every realtor is different. Everybody has a different theory on it. Some people are like, well, I'm going to do a 3-week or a 4-week or a 12-week process. We found that it's, really good to send them something for 8 weeks on top of all of the little phone calls, little text messages, little emails here and there. Because in these conversations that you have at the open house, that you have on week 4, have on week 8, you should be finding things out about them that are personable, that they need help with. Because you're not there to just try to sell them a house, but you're there to help people.
Okay.
And so if I can, in these conversations, if I can find things that they need help with, I'm going to go and do that. And I'm going to report back to them and say, hey, I found this for you. I found this plumber. I got this electrician. I got this answered for you. You were so curious about how appraisals work. Well, hey, I talked to Dan over it that does appraisals, and I answered all these questions, and here's all the answers, and or even outside of real estate.
So if we wanted to condense it all down, because that's all great information.
Oh, 100%. It's kind of all over the place.
But if we wanted to do like the Cliff's Notes.
Yeah.
Intentional preparation, masterful connection.
Yes.
Relationship building follow-up.
Yes.
Okay.
And that works. I think that flows differently person to person.
Yeah, of course it does.
So what works for me may not work for you. It may not work for somebody else, and how they follow up, or how they do the intense planning and making sure that things are the way that they need to be. I know an agent that loves doing open houses on the weekends. He loves having as many people come to the house as possible. But you know what? It works for him in his way of communicating with people, and it like in how he does his open houses and how he structures them, and who he has there at the open house with him. It totally works. So for him, it's amazing, and I love that for him.
But he's still using that same system.
Same.
Preparation, execution, follow up.
100%.
Yeah.
Because that is, but so it just is different for everybody. So,
Brett, I appreciate you taking the time to tell us a little bit about how you've experienced tremendous real estate success through open houses and building your database and building connections.
Yeah.
Is there any parting words you'd like to say?
I don't think there's necessarily any like parting words as, stuff we haven't already said, but I think the biggest thing is that if you focus on the right reasons, you'll have success. If you're focused on the wrong reasons, you're going to have poor execution, which is going to result in poor results. And, if you just focus on the right reasons, the right goals, you're going to put a lot more effort into it, and you're going to have way better results. And kind of resulting in, which I didn't even know, was 75% of my business this year so far, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome work.
But it's just, it's all about what your focus is.
Yeah.
So.
Understood, man. Thank you so much for joining me on the coaching couch. We're actually not going to call it that anymore because that is super creepy. But if you want a follow-up system for your open houses to do the intentional preparation, the masterful execution, and then the follow-up, you can head on over to myrealestatefasttrack.com and click the little button that says Open House Kit, or down in the, are they down or are they up? Or over here? Down. They're down. I don't know YouTube. So down on the bottom, click the link, and we'll see you next time.